Okay, RetroGamer3 here, and what video games are we going to talk about today? Well, today I felt like talking about the Nintendo, the NES. That's Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, I don't even know where to begin with this thing because there are so many stories and so many memories behind this little gray box that, like, so many thoughts just overwhelm my mind right away. So let's just start with when I first played the Nintendo. Now, when I first played the Nintendo, we were all really young at the time, and the video game industry was going down the tube. I mean, we're talking Atari games for $2 a game, and you still had to beg your mom to buy one. But other than that, the industry was going down the tube. Then Nintendo came along and changed everything with this little 8-bit system that could right here. The games, the graphics, unbelievable at the time. I mean, it blew my mind, and I never had one when it first came out because I wasn't a spoiled kid. Only the spoiled kids had a Nintendo when it first came out because it was pricey. And but my cousins did have it. I had a big family and I had a lot of cousins, and they always had the system first when it first came out, and that's where I first played Nintendo. And I saw it. Well, I couldn't necessarily say that I played it because there were, including myself, 6 of us and only 2 controllers. So it was like survival of the fittest here. We're talking primal rage. The largest survive, you know what I mean? Like, the biggest species will thrive. So it was whoever was the biggest kid, which all my cousins were older than me, they got to play. And if you're the little kid, you just got to sit there and take it and watch it. And hopefully someone had to get up to go to the bathroom or something so that you could have a chance to play the game for a little bit, maybe 60 seconds, before the controller would be ripped from your hands. Oh, come on! Alright, let's talk about the Nintendo controller. As far as I know, it's the very first controller with the thumb pad that you played with your thumbs that ever came out that I knew of. Other than that, we just had joysticks and such. So I'm pretty sure Nintendo is the innovator of that. Select and start button, A and B button. Another thing I didn't know was why the B came before the A on the controller. I don't know, go figure that one out. But other than that, it was small, it was light, it was not so easy to use. When you first picked it up, you had to get used to it. But once you got used to it, it was very comfortable, and it was a hell of a lot easier to use than the joysticks were. The only thing that was pretty much wrong with the controller is the comfort of it. It was, you know, comfortable-er at the time, but it's got these sharp edges on it everywhere that from long periods of play would give you like blisters after a while. And all the controllers nowadays, they all have rounded, smooth, articulate edges on them, right? This is basically just like playing with a block of wood. But other than that, that's the Nintendo thumb pad. Ooh. So here's the games, like you haven't seen them before. What was innovative was Nintendo had these sleeves that they came in, and I don't know why, we pretty much never used them, even though I think some of the games even stopped coming with them after a while. I think that Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt were separate games when the system came out, and then they came out with this combo game one later on. If you were lucky enough to get the combo package, you know, you got the zapper gun with it too, right? And then you got 2 games, you got Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I don't know is why they made them bigger and bulkier. Because if you ever take one apart, you'll notice the chip on the bottom only basically extends from here to here. And the rest of it is just hollow plastic. So I really don't know why they did that, because the Japanese Famicom system, the games were smaller and they didn't need to be this big bulky thing. I don't know, it's sort of like they made it worse. They made the Nintendo worse than the Japanese Famicom one. So that's it for the games. So, in closing about the NES, all I can say is that it is an anger box. I will admit that. Even back into the day, maybe now not so much, but back then, it was the only system that we played, it was the only system that was out, and the sheer rage and anger that could be brought out in a child, this thing could bring it out. And the parents too, reflected on the parents, because the kids would get angry and enraged, and the parents would get angry and enraged, and who got the brunt of it? This thing. So much abuse, so many stories I could tell you about the abuse of this little machine. I've seen mothers come out of nowhere with stiletto high heels on and curb kick the shit out of it until it has holes punctured all in it. I've seen parents come flying around the corner with a hammer and just smash the living crap out of it until it was pulverized. And you know what we did? We gathered up all the little pieces, we put it all back together again, we shoved a game into it, and we turned it on, and it still worked. So, it was an amazing little machine, but definitely raised some anger issues with it. So, with that, I'm going to show you now my top 5 Nintendo games of all time. So, thanks for watching.
Number
5.
Okay, a game so great that they had to make a next generation version of it. Bionic Commando was a must-own title back in '88. It didn't have a jump, it had a very unique swinging system that only the best players could master.
Number
4.
Again, countless remakes made of this game. Final Fantasy I gets a number 4 spot because when this game came out, I was just starting to get into role-playing games, just completed Dragon Warrior 1, and this game was a million times better than it. And to this very day, people still pay good money for Final Fantasy games.
Number
3.
Okay, what comes in at number 3? Why, Mega Man 3, of course, my favorite Mega Man of all of them. Best levels, best music, and of course 2 of my favorite robots in the same game, Magnet Man and Snake Man.
Number
2.
This was a really hard decision, but second place goes to, of course, Zelda. Who could forget this game? It's unbelievable. It would make anybody's top list. And there's pretty much only one word you could say to describe it. Huge.
Number
1.
Like I said, this was the hardest list ever, but in first place is a Castlevania game again. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. I mean, multiple pathways, being able to switch characters in battle, and the first appearance of Alucard make this game a legend in the industry. You still play it even to this very day, and that is why it gets my first place spot.